We certainly have the potential to see an active pattern as we make our way through this month and into the middle areas of the month and especially the later half. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are doing well out there today and have had a great start and most of the day for your Thursday here. And I hope you guys continue to have a good Thursday as you make your way into the evening hours. We have some model guidance to go over today that will try to determine what we see over the next couple of weeks in general. Not anything super long range, but just next couple of weeks. What can we expect? Going to dive into that today, as well as some current conditions. So like this video if you like it, subscribe if you've not done so already, and please leave a comment down below where you are watching from. It'd be greatly appreciated. So as usual, I'm going to start this off by reloading the page and getting rid of whatever that was. So you can see here from our satellite loop, it's been quiet the last couple of hours. I'm going to pause this here, and you can see just how empty the western areas, the western half, maybe even 2/3 of the U.S. are. Literally nothing going on in most of these areas. And then you have cloud cover as well as snowpack. You can see snow on the ground in these areas. I always thought that was really cool. But you can see this snow. My dog is barking in the background. You might hear her. If you hear a noise, that's what that is. But all this cloud cover over here is associated with some sort of jet stream and dip here. And you can see it where, our wind bars point to the south. That means the air is coming out of the north. So you can see this the wind is kind of coming down like this. It's ushering in cooler air. And it will also usher in a clipper that we will see starting tomorrow and getting into Saturday for areas of the northern U.S. So we're going to dive into that as well. There's that. Here is the latest loop, about an hour or so, of the radar. And man, it is quiet. I mean, we'll start up here, areas of Canada into Minnesota, some possibly heavy snow showers in this area. This is likely some lake effect stuff in this area as this low moves through. Most of this is really light, though, and may not even be hitting the ground, especially with southern extent. This stuff, say, in Georgia is likely not hitting the ground. It could be. I did get a burst of snow in the upstate of South Carolina here. It didn't accumulate. It was 39 degrees outside, and there were snowflakes falling. I guess it was very cold aloft, and that's why that happened, but nevertheless, it's kind of cool to see. And then we have these could be locally heavy snow showers making their way through the eastern areas of North Carolina. So this is probably hitting the ground. I don't know what your temperatures look like in this area right now, but I mean, it's 39 at my house, so who knows? But this is making its way through and it'll be out very soon. Otherwise, very quiet. Now, here's watches, warnings, and advisories. This map has lit up over the past 24, 48 hours. And you can see areas in pink through West Virginia here, and maybe some counties in Maryland and just Virginia itself. And pink here is winter storm warnings. These have been upgraded from winter storm watches. So that is where the highest snowfall, some stronger wind, that's where it could happen, and that's why they've issued these. All of this purple, these are special weather statements, and this is just for kind of light snow and messy travel tomorrow morning. So that is with the start of that clipper as it makes its way into Ohio. That you see the winter weather advisory is in this area. That's where confidence is increased a little bit about the intensity of this. I think in most of Ohio, you're probably good for at least an inch, enough to coat the ground. And then you look up here, all of this blue, widespread blue in the areas of the Northeast. This would be extreme cold watches. These could be upgraded. They have been in some areas. This kind of darker shade of blue is extreme cold warnings. Dropping down to the south a little bit, these areas of tan are high wind watches. As this moves through, could be very windy in some of these areas. In fact, I mean, these are going to vary depending on which one you click on, but gust up to 60 miles per hour possible. In some of these areas, probably locally higher, if I had to guess. Some of these areas at 65 miles an hour down here. So if you're in any of this kind of tan color, please pay attention and watch for falling trees. Not a whole lot else. I mean, there's special weather statements likely for black ice, if I had to guess. Yeah, black ice down here. So, I mean, I could click on all these, but mostly quiet. So, getting into model guidance here. This is going to be a shorter video because we don't really have anything short-term to cover. We're just going to go over a broad look. So, this is starting off right about now. and we see areas of snow. That's about right, maybe a little bit overdone, but nevertheless, you can see as we make our way through tonight and into tomorrow morning, areas of heavier snow appear likely in areas of Indiana, Ohio, Minnesota, maybe northern Illinois. But you can see in areas of Ohio and West Virginia here how you're kind of targeted with that heavier, longer duration snow, and that's why you got the higher criteria warnings in place. And I mean, as we work our way through the day and into the evening tomorrow, we get snow working its way into the northeast. I question how heavy this could be, but kind of light to moderate snow could be possible. I think you guys might get your winter storm watches or winter weather advisories up in that area by tomorrow afternoon, if you're going to get them. So that kind of sticks around a little bit, then moves offshore. Now, afterwards, let's move past that. There's some snow up in the areas of the Great Lakes, but doesn't do a whole lot. Now, if you remember from yesterday's video, I said a few different time frames what we need to watch. The 10th through the 12th for areas of the northern U.S., mainly the north central plains, and then the 12th through the 14th for areas of the southern U.S. So I will do a little bit of drawing. Do you see these black lines right here? They kind of go like this, and they're pretty close to each other. Those are isobars at the surface. That's going to show our surface pattern. Somewhere in here, we have a low. And the lines are kind of like a hurricane. If you've ever seen a map of a hurricane, where they go further out, that's your pressure lines. So there is some sort of low. This is the 10th. The reason I'm drawing on this is because there have been significant changes to our moisture over the past 24 hours. So we work our way through. There's some light snow in areas of the northern U.S., but nothing major at all. The low is there. The moisture is not. And let's see. We're getting to the 11th, the 12th. Now, where's our system for the southern areas? It's not here. It just isn't. I mean, Saturday was the day for areas like the southeast U.S., the mid-Atlantic, the mid-south, and there is nothing here at all. You can see by those blue dotted lines, our jet stream is dipping pretty far south, but there's no moisture. There's a low off the coast, well off the coast, out towards Bermuda, where you've got a lot of precipitation, but obviously no one really cares about what goes on out there. Not to insult you guys out in Bermuda, but you guys are so far away from us. If I have viewers from Bermuda, welcome to the channel, because that seems like a really far away. It isn't, and it is. But not to get too caught up in that. The moisture's gone. 2 runs ago, it looked like this. So yeah, something significant has changed over the past. This would be the last like 12 hours. I mean, that's a big look. There's nothing there. That's because our upper air has changed over the past 24 hours, and we'll go into that later. But after that, let's see. Right at the end of the run, we have, this is the 20th, we have some sort of low in the northeast, but it's a mixed bag of precipitation. So on top of it not really being a big snow event, it is also way out in no man's land. So there's the year. What a unfortunate run for snow weather fans. Then we look at the GFS model. Starting off the same time, Clipper dives down, really highlights areas of Ohio, Kentucky, West Virginia. And you see that green mixing in Indiana, for example. I would struggle to think that is just straight rain. You might be mixing with some freezing rain or sleet, but I think it'll be cold or too cold for just straight rain. Areas of West Virginia are targeted. Again, that's why you got those warnings. And then moves to the northeast, then moves out. And then what? Here's the 10th. We got a low, and there's some moisture that is falling as snow up in areas of the north, but nothing really huge. And then afterwards, what do we get? Well, the GFS model does something interesting here. We get, again, you can tell by the black bars on your screen where they kind of meet. There's a low right there. Low pressures circulate like this. Even though it's hard to, those are both terrible arrows. They rotate like that. So it's bringing Gulf moisture up into cold air coming from the north. So you get snow, but it's in a different location. This is the 14th. So you have some sort of low. This is very heavy snow in areas of, say, Kansas and Missouri, but it drops south and completely fizzles out as we make our way into Saturday evening. I mean, very different look. And then it's typical GFS fashion. We get some sort of massive, highly amplified low pressure that goes almost due north. I mean, as we get into the long range, don't pay this too much of attention, but this would be a big areas of the northern plains. This would be a big snow for you guys, but not forecast by any means. And then we get like some sort of clipper roll through the northern tier of the country and give some snow to areas, but nothing definitive anymore. And lastly, the Canadian. We start this off now, some snow. Secondary clippers, very, very light. And then again, around the 10th, we have some sort of low up in the northern areas. Could overperform. I mean, this is not, there's no way to like fully tell, but we're getting closer to this and confidence is all over the place. But I mean, where does it go after? Well, again, somewhere in Texas, you can see something's going on. Back in Texas, by those black lines, they're getting closer together, and they're all circling around a central point here, and there's moisture. Well, when we get into early Friday morning, not this coming Friday, not like tomorrow, but the Friday after, and we have something going on here. There's a big low pressure, 987 low, I believe that says. My eyes don't deceive me. That'd be very windy, lot of energy at the surface, and then it starts to go almost due north. So it's highly amped. Goes due north. And for example, well, I'll go back one. See all this moisture and some yellows mixing in, that's heavier precipitation in areas of the heart of the deep south. Well, temperature wise at this time, we'd be in the 60s. And you go back another frame, it was even warmer before the rain took over. So this would be a severe weather event. We've gone from snow to severe weather. I mean, what a change. Although the deep south was never really set for snow, so you could argue either way there, but that rolls through. There'd also be some sort of line of severe or sub-severe storms rolling through the eastern areas of the deep south. Then it gets the snow going as we get into Saturday. Large snow, and just a huge shield of snow from, I mean, the far eastern high plains, the upper Midwest, all the way into the Northeast. And then this is the last frame we have. I don't know what it was going to do after this, but huge system. So the Canadian model does hold on to something. Then we get into AI guidance. Clipper, this is the Euro AI. Secondary clipper, as we get into the 10th, there's moisture falling as something frozen in the northern areas, but it's not anything definitive. It keeps the axis, I should say, of heaviest snow over the upper Great Lakes areas. Getting into the 10th, then moves into the Northeast. Be a pretty big event for you guys if this were to actually happen. You can see that dark blue line is our jet stream. It starts to buckle south a little bit as we get into the 12th, 13th, and then the Euro AI has been slower with it, but it does do something with a low. It pops the low off east of the Rockies and starts to get our moisture going, and it just moves due east. It's too warm for areas further south, but you do have a corridor of sleet or freezing rain and then snow. This would be a pretty solid, not ice storm, but like icing event for the Southern Appalachians, but very strictly confined to the Southern Appalachians. Move a few more frames, and yeah, that's all we got. So who knows what it's going to do after? If I had to guess, just guessing, and it is just a guess, areas up here would probably fill in with some sort of frozen precipitation as it moves this way. So I don't know that for sure, but it does show something. It's just a little bit slower. So the AI GFS model, Clipper dives through. Confidence is very high in that, I would say. Getting into the 10th, again, there's moisture up there. And it's a little bit more aggressive with the snow for a longer period of time. Then big band of very cold rain. Not severe weather, not anything exciting, just a cold rain making its way through the eastern third of the country. Then what? Here's the 12th. Here's the 13th. We have a low down there in Texas. And it does something with moisture, but it does something very suppressed. Keeps that moisture only moderate at best further to the south. So, and this would just be a cold rain bomb for areas of the deep south. So, do we need the rain? Yes, but that's not exciting. That's not an exciting way to get rain, is it? And that's the last frame. So, moving from there, snowfall looks like this. This is the Euro from this morning. This is what we got based off of what I just showed you. And it's a pretty large footprint of at least an inch of snow. I mean, there's areas where it turns this darker blue as at least like 3 inches of snow, but up in the upper Midwest here, the UP of Michigan down through the state of Michigan, the mainland areas here. I mean, 1 to as much as 3 inches could fall. This is only a 10-to-1 ratio, and I'll show you the Kuchera ratio, and it is much higher. So this assumes that it would be more efficient at snowing because the temperatures are colder. I don't know if you'd have quite this high of a ratio. That's why I'm going to show you this one, but note that it could be higher. But, you know, the entire state of Michigan is pretty much set for at least an inch of snow based off this. Not a forecast, though. Most of Ohio, if not all of it, is about an inch. West Virginia, again, you can kind of see central areas of West Virginia here as like a bullseye. Moving to the northeast, I mean, Maine, nothing. And really along the I-95 corridor, it stops because as this moisture hits the Appalachian Mountains, it kind of wrings out the moisture and then breaks itself apart. So there's a decent footprint of snow here, nothing too crazy. The GFS looks similar, but it's a little bit more beefed up. A lot of the same when it comes to areas here, but just higher, slightly higher totals. And you get into West Virginia, and they're well higher totals, almost 2 inches higher. And then again, for what it's worth, it's not as the most responsible thing to do, but I'll show you this. So it doesn't change a whole lot, but for areas of say West Virginia that are really looking for snow, it does beef you guys up a little bit. So something to watch. I don't think your ratios will be this high though. I think this is a better way to do it. And it does have a kind of secondary finger of snow here through central areas of the Northeast, but nothing too crazy. Now I will pull this out. You see this kind of axis of snow, this like band of snow here? That would be from that low pressure that the GFS showed in the deep south that kind of just drifted down to the southeast. I mean, this could happen, but this is not a forecast. This is obviously a lot of snow for areas of Kansas. Now again, I mean, if it were to be in the right ratios, well, see, this is why this is snow ratios are interesting. That band specifically loses some steam, but the rest of it doesn't. Isn't that weird? I love the weather, guys. Sometimes it does weird things. It just does. And same with model guidance. So there's GFS. The Euro Ensemble, very reliable thing to look at. A solid 1 inch snowfall average across a very broad area. That's why I haven't pulled up any National Weather Service graphics. It's such a large area here. But areas of the Great Lakes vicinity, I think you guys are pretty solid and pretty set for about an inch. Not a big snowfall for you guys by any means. It's really quieted down up here. Obviously, on a really local basis, you might disagree with me, but in general, there haven't been. I mean, you started the season off strong with just an absurd amount of snow. So, yeah, you work your way to the south, and even the Euro Ensemble has a 3 inch or more mean in central and east central areas of West Virginia. I think you guys are set for at least a couple, maybe several inches of snow. And then that's all I'm going to show you. I'm not going to pull it out to the end because there's nothing to look at. And then the National Blend of Models did something interesting with its latest run. This has just finished running not long ago, and this is a blend of all models. So it's an ensemble, but it's also typically drier. You can see how much drier it is for areas of, say, Michigan and Minnesota. I mean, it still gives central eastern areas of West Virginia over 10 inches of snow. That's why you got those winter storm warnings in place, because there are scenarios like this. And then it really does highlight, well, I think, the higher elevations along the Smokies where you could get locally, not a forecast, over half a foot of snow in some of these areas. So there's that. I'm not going to show you anything else with it. So pattern wise, it looks like this. We get into Sunday here. This is after that clipper has moved through, and there's the low. So what you're looking at, if you've never seen this before, is the mid levels. 500 millibars is about 3 to 4, I'd say, miles above your head. These kind of red, salmon pink, even purple colors you see are ridge signatures. They would also be warmer air. That's what I want you to think of here is warmer air with the red, cooler air with the blue. They correspond well. It makes logical sense. So, as we move through here, we see this area, this ridge, move through the US. This is going to bring a warm up as we make our way through, I would say, the second half of the second week of February, if that makes any sense. I mean, days 10 or 11 onward, it's really warmer through most of the US. And then The difference here, if we get into our time frame for the South, is right here. I mean, we still have the ridge is hanging on in these areas that's kind of blocking the storm track from working well for us, which is why the moisture does not look like it once did. When you go back a few runs, it looked like this. We had opposite signatures showing up. So this is what I showed you yesterday. Actually, I don't know what I showed you yesterday. I forgot when I made the video, but this it might have been this run. Yeah, it might, something like that. So the latest run looks like this. We switched this, so it just hangs onto that ridge a little longer, and then fills it back in. I mean, for snow weather fans in the, I'll draw like quadrants in the U.S. Make this easy for myself. I go like this and like this. Now, let's be honest. I apologize. I can't do this wrong on purpose. If you live down in here, this bottom right quadrant of the US, this pattern does not look good for you. If you're in either of the leftmost quadrants, it looks better for you because at least you have cooler air in place most of the time. If you're up in this quadrant, the top right quadrant, the northeast, I think you're kind of a mixed bag. I think the pattern, what it ends up doing is supporting storms that end up in the northeast, but is it going to be cold enough is the question. But anyway, moving on from that, this is the 16th, the 17th, 18th. I mean, by the end of the run, we do get troughing signatures here that connect all the way up to the Arctic, but this is not really a favorable pattern. So we'll see how this changes. It obviously has over the last 24 hours pretty significantly for some of our time frames, so we need to watch it. Temperatures look like this. This is starting out tomorrow afternoon, about 1 p.m. tomorrow. You see this area blue in Canada here? This is a temperature anomaly. So if you see these blues, that is below average, and if you see reds, that is above average temperature-wise. And there is a color scale over here on the right. My head is blocking some of it, but you don't really need to see it. It's not, just look for the actual colors here. We get through Friday, and that area of cold air drops down from Canada. I think that this is ultimately kind of a piece of the polar vortex that kind of broke off and then drifted down to the south. Because look at how cold it gets. I mean, areas of West Virginia could be as much as like 20, 25 degrees below average. And that is very cold, especially it's February. Your daytime high temperatures aren't high to begin with. So if you subtract 20 from them, it's pretty cold. So be prepared in areas of the Northeast, the Mid-Atlantic to just very brutally cold air. That kind of sticks around. Then it kind of tones itself down a little bit. And you see warmer air enter the central U.S. and it's very warm. I mean, for example, this frame right here in areas of Nebraska and Iowa, this is as much as maybe 15, 18 degrees above average. And it's not a torch. It's not like you're going to be 80 degrees in South Dakota or anything like that, but it's pretty warm. And we move that area moves east, and then interestingly, the colder air starts to work back in for below average, I should say. I don't know how cold this really would be. Oh, let's look. Let's just look. I can save myself from wondering. So this is marginal temperatures in eastern seaboard states here. What was I looking at? Completely forgot. Temperature anomaly. There we go. So that area of blue working its way in there is below average. It's not crazy cold, but it is there. And so our temperatures look better in this time frame, but the axis of the trough that drives them is what ruins the moisture for us. But we get past that, and we kind of we have an opposite pattern of what we've been seeing, where it's just cooler out west, cold to cooler out west, and then just above average for the central and eastern areas. This is the end frame. So again, the southeast quarter of the country, it just doesn't really look good for us. Based on this run, things will change. They can and they will. I promise you, they will change. Even if it makes it worse, there will be changes here. And for areas out west, this might finally be your shot at some winter weather. I know you guys have been above average for temperatures and below average for your moisture. So this might be your chance here. But even out there, there's nothing really crazy showing up. So this might be kind of a Other than a few specific time frames, kind of an interesting transition phase. After this is the 20th. When we get beyond this, into the last week or two of February, I have no idea what it would show. And as we get into early March, I mean, once you get into March for areas further to the south, your winter's really over when it comes to seeing like snow, for example. But hey, I don't know, and we'll have to watch it. That's why I make videos more than just once a week or once every other day, because these things change sometimes dramatically in 24 hours. So ultimately, could we see snow? Yes. I would say confidence has decreased in the medium to longer range as we've seen kind of a flip flop with our upper air pattern. It was looking like we'd have troughing in some of these time frames, and we actually have the ridge hanging on, and it leads to a very weird storm track and above average temperatures. So I honestly think if I had to make just a very broad forecast, I'd say areas at and then east of the Rockies through the next couple of weeks will likely remain above average for most areas. How much above average? Not anything crazy. I don't think we're going to get like 30 degrees above average. We might locally, but I don't think we're going to see that necessarily. But could we? Yes. And that for snow weather fans, this is not the kind of pattern you want to see. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not gonna lie to you guys though. I'm ready for winter to be over. I'm a storm chaser, and the fact that like the Canadian model showed the potential for severe weather down to the south, is it gonna happen at my house? No. And this time of my life is not really gonna be optimal for going and traveling to chase, at least long distance. But uh, I'm not gonna lie to you. It's enticing to see some severe weather signals showing back up. It's been forever since I got to really deal with that. So that's just getting my personal opinion involved. But I'll stop yapping right about now. So if you enjoyed this video, like I said, like it and subscribe if you've not done so already. Share it with your friends and family. We don't have anything too crazy to go over, but yeah, I appreciate the growth that the channel has seen. Appreciate all you guys tuning in. Tune in for any future updates we may have. And if nothing else, I will see you tomorrow morning. Thanks for watching.